Hi everybody. It's Friday, September 7th, and I actually got to talk to Robert today. It was super exciting. I almost didn't answer it because I thought that it might be spam, and it came in as like Pinnacle or something, and it didn't come in as Ada County Jail. It just came in as Pinnacle, and I was like, I wonder why Pinnacle is calling me. I don't know who Pinnacle is, but apparently that's who owns the jail or who runs the phone system. So I've got a lot to cover. I should probably keep it somewhat short because Robert did have some very specific instructions for me not to be too negative tonight. But if you know me and you know Robert, we were talking about some real shit tonight. And I don't sugarcoat shit. So I'm going to be real with you, even though Robert told me not to. Well, I mean, he didn't tell me not to, but he knows who he was talking to, so I'm sure he knows what's going to come out of my mouth tonight. First off, I just wanted to say thank you so much to everybody that has been writing letters to Robert. Those have been very, very, very encouraging to him. I should probably start counting up. I don't know how long he's been in jail. I think we're over 2 weeks at this point. He's got 154 days left, and he's in jail for banging on a bucket. He banged on a bucket and he's serving 6 months in jail. It's absolutely ridiculous. The world that we're living in today is absolutely ridiculous, and I don't even know where to start, guys. It's absolutely insane. And Robert touched on that a little bit. He's fired up in there. He's fired up, and he is spreading rights and freedom and liberty seeds all through all the men in that jail. Some of them are so burnt out and so beat down, they don't have the energy to fight. Some of them are bogus charges and some of them are not. But most of them don't even want to go to trial because they've been sitting in jail for so long waiting for a trial. They just don't have the energy to fight back anymore. And it's really just beating them down. I don't know if you saw what happened last night with that clown we call a leader. He announced something about removing charges for a certain plant. People shouldn't be in jail for consuming a plant. I think we all can agree that it's overkill. So what else is overkill? Banging on a bucket? I'd call that overkill. Way overkill. 6 months for that. There's a gentleman in there that ran from the cops, like they were chasing him. I don't know if he had a warrant. I don't know the circumstances, but he ran away from the police. The police were chasing him, and he got charged with a felony for running away. And he's got 6 months in jail. The stories that Robert is collecting in there are priceless. I mean, there are so many people that he's talking to every day that are all experiencing some sort of crazy injustice in one way or another. I really hope that he's truly in there at the right time with the right people for the right reason. We talked a little bit about the Baby Cyrus case and what his thoughts were on where we go from here. I don't know where we go. I don't know if any of you watched the Baby Cyrus, well, I guess it's not even Baby Cyrus. It was his mom's pre-trial, some sort of hearing the other day. And any mom that hears an officer say, "Hand over your baby and go on your merry way," this sounds like something pure out of Nazi Germany. The fact that that officer was able to sit on that stand and talk like he did, like it was acceptable that he was demanding her to hand over her baby and just go on her merry way like it was no big deal, is frightening. It's frightening that our police force has gotten to the point where they are going to blindly follow the orders of their superiors, regardless of what's standing right in front of them, which was a mom that cared about her baby, and a baby that clearly was not in danger that day. But they blindly followed orders because that's what they were told to do, and they took that baby away. That's the world that we're living in today. And many of you know Robert is a harsh dose of reality sometimes. And he tells it how it is. And it's not always the popular opinion, and that's why he stands alone. The reality is what we're facing today is we have people that are standing for liberty that are being I almost got caught by the sprinklers, guys. Okay, so we have people that are standing for liberty right now that are being persecuted for some absolutely insane and ridiculous things. And with these absolutely insane and ridiculous things that they're being persecuted for, we have hundreds of other people who agree with them. They agree with them on principle and they agree with what they're doing, but they're not coming out to stand with us. They're staying at home on their couch because it's more comfortable. And we've gotten to a point in this world where people aren't liberty or death, guys. They're not. What it is now is liberty as long as I don't lose my job. They're comfortable. Can you blame them though? I mean, I wouldn't want to lose my job either, but is your family's safety really worth it? I mean, if you had been Marissa that night and that baby said, or that officer said, hand over your baby and you can keep your job. I know she would have said no, like fire me, I don't care. And maybe that's a really shitty analogy, but guys, that's where we are. Because if people were to really put their actions where their mouth is, we would have thousands of people showing up to show their disgust in the way that these officers acted with the baby Cyrus kidnapping. And we would have thousands of moms showing up to support Sarah Brady, and we don't. So where do we go from here? I don't know. I'd love to say that we can resolve things peacefully. I'm scared that we can't. I mean, Robert said it many times throughout his court case that he's afraid of the same thing. I don't know that we can solve it peacefully. Am I calling for violence? No. Am I saying that we've gone way, way astray from what this country was supposed to be? Yeah. We're way off. I think we all know it, and watching what's going on in the world today, we all kind of question, like, where are we headed? What's next? In my last video, I talked about 3 ways that you can get involved. You can get involved with your time. It's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm taking time away from my night to make a video and to write Robert letters. You can help with your talent. If you have the ability to help with the legal stuff, we definitely need help with that. Or you can help with money. Guys, we're definitely at war. There's no getting around the fact that our way of life is being stripped away faster than we even know what to do with. It's happened in many other states. People have fled to Idaho and it's coming here. So we can't just stand by and let it happen. I know some people believe that there's still an option to vote our way out of this. I have a really unpopular opinion, and that is there is not going to be a fair election in November. It's not. I don't care. I don't care what you believe. I know what I've seen. And I know, for me personally, when I watched the voter fraud happen in 2012, it's been a while, I knew we had a problem. And I'm totally one of the ones that totally went complacent and dormant when Trump got in. I did. I completely stepped back from politics because it was somebody else's turn to step up for a little while and get involved. And that probably wasn't the right thing to do, but it happened. It happened for a lot of Americans. It happened for a lot of people that call themselves patriots. And it's time to get back in the game, guys. And the game is not going to be won at the national polling stations. It's not. It's going to be won locally. There's a lot going on in the news today about Armageddon. Russia. Oh wait, we heard that in 2020. It's kind of come full circle now, hasn't it? But I don't know what's going to happen. We got a missing submarine. That sounds exciting. And now we've got governments buying up large quantities of iodine tablets. Iodide, whatever it is. I'm going to mess that up. Where do we go from here? Robert's in there building a local network and community with those that are closest to him in that jail. We have to unite with our neighbors, and we have to start building up our own local economy. That's the only way we're going to survive this. And the people that live and work in our local communities have to know that we're not going to tolerate things like kidnapping children. And so we need to show up. We need to show up and make sure that the justice system that's in place holds them accountable. And not go soft on them. And the only way that we're going to see that is if we show up in numbers. We have to show up in numbers, because when we show up in numbers, we show that we care. We show that we're involved and that we're not going to back down. I don't know how many of you have access to watch news in other countries right now, but I would encourage that you get online and you figure out how to watch news in other countries. In the last 2 years, we have seen some absolutely amazing things happen in other countries as they have stood up against their governments, and we've seen governments actually step down, because the power truly is in the people. People in other countries have taken to the streets in such high numbers that we've seen police officers and firemen and governments taking water trucks out to try and push these people out of the streets. And right now we have people in America, which is supposedly the freest country of them all, being arrested for banging on a bucket. It's pitiful, and it's embarrassing, to be quite honest with you, that we're allowing this to happen in our country. That was one of Robert's specific examples, you know, that in other countries people are getting tear gassed. They're getting hit with rubber bullets and they're being tasered. They are actually being hurt as they're trying to stand up and fight for freedom. And he banged on a bucket and got 6 months in jail. So at the very top of my notes here, I have don't be negative. So I've been really, really negative for the last 15 minutes. So I'm sorry, guys, but I'm telling it like it is because we don't have any time left. You have to get involved. You have to show up. You need to write letters because Robert is in there and he's going to be the first one to stand right back up when he gets out, even if it means he gets thrown back in jail. And you know it. Melanie, I'm sorry. I hope he doesn't do that because I know you want your husband back. But he's going to stand up no matter what the cause. As long as it's in the fight for liberty, he's going to do it. He's going to be right there and he's going to be the first one saying, I will not comply. I will not comply. It's 3 simple words, guys. It really wasn't very long ago that our governor locked us down and he said, I'm going to mess up the quote even though I just watched the video. I'm issuing a stay-at-home order for all of Idaho or Idahoans or all Idahoans or something. And he told everybody to stay home, not to leave your house, not to go out. And how many of you stayed home? How many of you complied? It didn't last very long. I mean, we had people arrested for singing in parking lots and going to parks and having yard sales. And a lot of you went on your merry way like it was nothing, and that was amazing. But businesses closed. People lost their jobs. Children were impacted in ways that we will not even know for years to come. Years. There are children right now that have grown up without seeing faces in larger cities because people are still wearing masks. There are some cities that still don't have indoor dining in some areas because they're still following COVID protocols. It's absolutely foreign to me because I like to stay in the comfort of Idaho and enjoy the freedom that we have. But you only have that freedom as long as you claim it, because the minute you stop claiming it, it's the minute they take it away. So practice those 3 words, I will not comply. Take some time, get to know your neighbors, get to know a plan, get in touch with your local farmers. We have to start buying local. If we can create a local economy, they can't tear it down because the people that are going to be enforcing it are going to be local. We have the opportunity right now, guys, to rebuild the world that we want our kids to grow up in. And honestly, it's one of the most exciting things to think about because as stressful and horrid as everything is that's going on in the world, it really is truly an amazing time to be alive. I've spent the last, 15 years of my life knowing how corrupt the government is and how they're trying to poison us. And I think it's really time that we shift into how are we going to create a world that's not poisoned. So if we create something that's not poisoned and we create a way to protect it and we create healthcare that's really healthcare and not poisoning the general population, then what happens? I mean, their system kind of falls apart because they rely on us being sick. They rely on us buying their poisonous food. And it will just be better all the way around if we could just eliminate those things. So, trying to end on a more positive note because you said don't be negative, but here I am being honest because that's what I do. It was really good to talk to you tonight, Robert. 154 days to go. We will be partying outside the jail when you get out. So you better think about what you want. Like, I hope you don't say cigarettes because we're not going to bring those for you. I mean, somebody might, but I'm not going to, because if you just made it 6 months, there's no reason to pick that back up. Get with your tribe, guys. Now's our time. It's our time to say I will not comply and to build up something new. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good night.